Greetings in the name of the Most High, Rastafari. This is again Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get formal as Miss Shanna for Frederick and read the channel where we talk the thing. People, today is Wednesday. The week is almost over. We are in the month of September, just as October, November, December, Christmas, and then a New Year. Time on tide waits some, no one but I. You have to wait on my peeps because my peeps is wait. So let me start this thing right. We have an order. There's always an order. And we don't run competition with nobody. We original, yeah? We original, organic. It's a vegetarian, right? It's original thing. So we start this thing right. Any pleasure, Trinidad and Tobago?
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
Hi, everyone, again. I want to treat with this situation very quickly. Again, is the situation with NIB getting their increase in salaries and arrears. I'm very happy for them. But the way how I see Felicia Thomas and the PSA posturing themselves as if they had so much to do with it. Because somebody called me today to ask me, because I don't know public officers going to get their money, so I needed to explain to him something. The situation with NIB and the General Public Service is two different things. For instance, the NIB is a board, National Insurance Board, just like WASA, just like Agricultural Bank, NLCB, Central Bank, all those things have a board. So when it's time for negotiation for the salaries, I'm speaking NIB in particular now, there's a section committee made up of the workers of NIB. And they would work out their own wage proposals based on all the data they would have pulled from different sources, and they said this is what they want. Excuse me. Because the PSA is the recognized majority union for their bargaining unit, they themselves cannot take that document, that wage proposal, to the board of NIB. So the union, PSA, takes it to the board. But it's directed what they want, what the NIB workers want. That is all the PSA does present to the board of NIB. Based on that, whatever agreement comes out of that, that is how it the workers now will get whatever money. But the CPO is not their employer. The CPO is the employer for the general public service, but those on boards is the board is the employer of the workers. So That was settled last year, I think 9%. And there was a situation where I think the Minister of Finance would have taken the matter to court. So I guess that is what they want to hold on to say it was a political thing, why the workers didn't get their money all the time, and this government come and now they get it. I want to correct something slightly again. PSA is not involved in that issue. What happened is a common knowledge within the PSA that the minister or the Ministry of Finance would usually be informed by the employer, by the NIB, or other board control bodies within the state, right? And when the PSA submit proposal to seek commencement of the collective agreement on behalf of those board, if they are the bargaining, or if they are the collective, if they have the recognized majority to represent that particular bargaining unit, that these workers fall directly under those institutions. And what happened is the board, NIB, usually it is common, they will engage the Minister of Finance or the Ministry of Finance as per the custom and practice instead. They may have conducted the negotiation as specified by the NIB Act, which would have said that they don't have to. But common practice and custom and practice is that the board, the NIB board, will usually inform the Ministry of Finance or the Minister of Finance on what is happening with the negotiations. And they don't have to. It is just a custom and practice, so it is not in law. So this time, what may have happened is that the NIB board may have not contacted like the Minister of Finance, Ministry of Finance. I would have told them what's happening with the negotiations that was going on the settlement of it. And based on that, maybe that is why the Minister of Finance would have taken the matter to court. Whether wrong or right, that is what that would have happened. Maybe that is what happened to cause the Minister of Finance, who would have been co-membered under the People's National Movement, to take the matter to court. And again, it's custom and practice that the board, NIB, when they finish whatever collective agreement, that they would inform or keep the minister or the ministry informed of what's happening. The PSA at that time has nothing to do with that. That is now between the board of NIB, the Minister of Finance. The only thing that PSA does is that when the section committee of NIB, made up of the workers, finish the wage proposal, they are the ones that take it to the board of NIB, and then PSA will let them know this is what the section, the workers, this is what they want, this is the information and data to back up what they want, and that is basically it. So when Felicia Thomas questioned as if the PSA wins some money, the PSA didn't win anything. All that happened is that the workers would have gotten the money that they would have write up their own proposal to get. And as the board have to pay them, not central government, not the CPO. So I just wanted to put that there because people are thinking that now because NIB get their money, it means to say public officers going to get their money. Our employer in the public service is the CPO, Chief Personal Officer. The PSA make up our wage proposal and they go before the CPO and negotiate on behalf of the public officers to get anything. And then we are paid when things are settled by central government. Totally different thing. So there's no guarantee, no assurance, just because NIB got what they've settled between them and the board, who is their employer, that we will get something. We and our employer is the CPO, not the Board of Inland Revenue, not the board of NIB, not ADB board, not Central Bank board. We are the General Public Service. Our boss or our employer is the CPO. Two different things. I hope people understand that, but we are happy that NIB workers get whatever they needed to get, whatever monies were put aside to be sourced by the board to pay them now. PSA has nothing to do with that. So let me continue. I always like to bring a little, let me put back this a little, some good news also, because there's always something good that's happening somewhere or has happened somewhere. And it's good to also know about that. So I'm seeing here the man who would have created the pacemaker Just listen a little about him.
Otis Boykin's mother died of heart failure when he was 1 year old. This tragedy would drive him to save millions of lives. Born in Dallas, 1920, graduated valedictorian, earned a scholarship to Fisk University, but had to drop out of graduate school because his family couldn't afford tuition. So he started inventing. 1959, Boykin created improved electrical resistors, tiny components that control electrical flow. Sounds boring? Think again. IBM immediately started using them in computers. The U.S. military put them in guided missiles. His resistors made electronics cheaper and more reliable. But here's the incredible part. In 1964, Boykin invented the control unit that made modern pacemakers possible. The boy whose mother died of heart failure created the technology that regulates heartbeats. 1968, President Eisenhower has a heart attack. The pacemaker that saves his life uses Otis Boykin's technology. By the time Boykin died in 1982, ironically of heart failure, his inventions had saved countless lives. Every computer, every smartphone, every pacemaker traces back to a grieving 1-year-old who never forgot his mother's heart. Follow for more hidden heroes who changed everything.
Right, so that is some historical information there. And I also want to give you the story of this lady here. That is, she's one of the reasons why I don't make joke when it comes to voting, because I know the amount of women who would have died, would have suffered for us to have the right to vote and to continue to vote. So I think when we do not go and vote, we basically say that these women, their efforts were in vain and what they did was nothing. So I'm going to read something about her here now. This here is Fannie Lou Townsend. And Fannie Lou Townsend Hamer rose from humble beginnings in the Mississippi Delta to become one of the most important, passionate, and powerful voices of the civil and voting rights movement, and a leader in the effort for greater economic opportunities for African Americans. Hamer was born on October the 6th, 1917, in Montgomery County, Mississippi, the 20th and last child of sharecropper Lou, Ella, and James Townsend. She grew up in poverty, and at the age of 6, Hamer joined her family picking cotton. By age 12, she left school to work in 1944. And in 1944, she married Perry Hamer, and the couple toiled on the Mississippi plantation owned by W.D. Marlowe until 1962. Because Hamer was the only worker who could read and write, she also served as plantation timekeeper. In 1961, Hamer received a hysterectomy by a white doctor without her consent while undergoing surgery to remove a uterine tumor. Such forced sterilization of Black women as a way to reduce the Black population was so widespread, it was dubbed a Mississippi appendectomy. Unable to have children of her own, the Hamers adopted 2 daughters. That summer, Hamer attended a meeting led by civil rights activist James Foreman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, and James Bevel of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. Hamer was incensed by efforts to deny Blacks the rights to vote. She became the SNCC organizer, and on August 31st, 1962, led 17 volunteers to register to vote at the Indiana Lower Mississippi Courthouse. Denied the right to vote due to their unfair literacy test, the group was harassed on their way home when police stopped the bus and fined them $100 for the trumped-up charge that the bus was too yellow. That night, Marlowe fired Hamer for her attempt to vote. Her husband was required to stay until the harvest. Marlowe confiscated much of their property. The Hamas moved to Roosevelt, Mississippi in Sunflower County with very little. In June 1963, after successfully completing a voter registration program in Charleston, South Carolina, Hamer and several other Black women were arrested for sitting in a white-only bus station restaurant in Wynona, Mississippi. At the Wynona jailhouse, she and several of the women were brutally beaten, leaving Hamer with lifelong injuries from a blood clot in her eye, kidney damage, and leg damage. In 1964, Hamer's national reputation soared as she co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which challenged the local Democratic Party efforts to block Black participation. Hamer and other MFDP members went to the Democratic National Convention that year, argued to be recognized as the official delegation. When Hamer spoke before the Credential Committee, calling for mandatory integration into integrated state delegation, President Lyndon Johnson held a televised press conference so she would not get any television airtime. But her speech, with its poignant description of racial prejudice in the South, was televised later. By 1968, Hamer's vision for racial parity in delegation had become a reality, and Hamer was a member of Mississippi's first integrated delegation. In 1964, Hamer helped organize Freedom Summer, which brought hundreds of college students, Black and white, to help with African American voters' registration in the segregated South. In 1964, she announced her candidacy for the Mississippi House of Representatives, but was barred from the ballot. A year later, Hamer, Victoria Gray, and Annie Devine became the first Black women to stand in the U.S. Congress when they unsuccessfully protested the Mississippi House election of 1964. She also traveled extensively, giving powerful speeches on behalf of civil rights. In 1971, Hamer helped to found the National Women's Political Caucus. Frustrated by the political process, Hamer turned to economics as a strategy for greater and racial equality. In 1968, she began a pig bank to promote free pigs for Black farmers to breed, raise, and slaughter. A year later, she launched the Freedom Farm Cooperative, buying up land that Blacks could own and farm collectively. With the assistance of donors, including famed singer Harry Belafonte, she purchased 640 acres and launched a coop store, boutique, and sewing enterprise. She single-handedly ensured that 200 units of low-income houses were built. Many still exist in Roosevelt today. The FFC lasted until the mid-1970s at its heyday. It was amongst the largest employer in the Sunflower County. Extensive travel and fundraising took Hamer away from the day-to-day operations, as did her failing health. And the FFC hovered along until folding. Not long after, in 1977, Hamer died of breast cancer at the age of 59. 48 years after her death, President Joe Biden awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the national highest civilian honor, to Hamer. Then we had women like Shirley Chisholm, Rosa Parks, Madam C.J. Walker, Judith Sargent Murray, all fighters in their own right. So when I speak and I am so passionate in the things that I do, I remember these women who would have fought for us to have the right to vote, just to have a voice. And I cannot, in good conscience, just let that pass because they are our ancestors who would have fought for us to have the rights we have. And we ought to respect them. Imagine she was beaten so badly, so savagely. She lost sight in one of her eyes. She had kidney problems for the rest of her life. Her leg was damaged. That didn't stop her. And that is the spirit of our people who cry out for freedom, who cry out for justice, who cry out for equality. remember your history, know your history, appreciate your history, whether you're Indian descent, African, Chinese, whoever, know your history and be proud of it. So let me continue. I'm also seeing that there are some people are going to be awarded in New York. This was in the news there 2 days ago. One of the persons, I'll put up their picture, somebody that we know and have known for years, Mr. Dominic Prasad. So it says here, in the spirit of Republic Day and all it symbolizes, sovereignty, cultural pride, and extraordinary potential of our people, 4 nationals of Trinidad and Tobago will be recognized for their outstanding contribution to journalism, film, advocacy, and fashion. A media release said Dominic Prasad, Asha Lovelace, Nicole Dyer Griffith, and Rick Davey will be honored on September the 20th aboard the Sir Winston yacht, the river runaway that will take over the Hudson River with a dazzling Met Gala-inspired soiree in honor of Republic Day. According to event patron and honorary chair Rennie Cummins, Republic Day is an opportunity to reflect on the journey of our nation, to celebrate our sovereignty, and to elevate the cultural pride that unites us all. The River Runaway is not simply a gala, it's a declaration of our identity, our creativity, and our resilience as a people. To honor 4 of our most distinguished nationals in New York City with the Hudson as our stage and the diaspora as our witness is to affirm the power of the people and the enduring brilliance of Trinidad and Tobago. Prasad, that's Dominic, will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award for Excellence in Caribbean Journalism and Public Discourse, honoring his fearless commitment to truth-telling, his role in shaping regional media, and his enduring impact on public dialogue and democratic accountability across Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. Loveless, for her curatorial vision, which has preserved and reimagined our cinematic heritage, Lovelace will receive the Heritage Award for Cultural Stewardship in Film Programming in recognition of her commitment to storytelling, cultural preservation, and amplifying unrepresented voices through film. Nicole Dyer Griffith will receive the Beacon Award for Transformational Healing and Advocacy, honoring her unwavering strength and ability to transform personal triumph into collective care. Her courage is a compass guiding change, inspiring hope, and reshaping the future of healing. Davy will receive the Vanguard Award for Global Caribbean Influence in Fashion, recognizing his trailblazing contributions to fashion and his role in positioning Caribbean creativity and identity on the world stage. His visionary leadership continues to influence global conversation around style, representation, and cultural pride. So that is some of our people being honored in fashion, journalism, and in when it comes to healthcare and that area there. We also have, this is Nicholas Puran here now. This 17 hours ago, fiery Puran takes TKR to CPL eliminator, wins over Falcon. So 4-time Caribbean Premier League, CPL champions Trinbago Knight Riders kept their 2025 title hopes alive when they got a convincing 9-wicket win over Antigua and Barbuda Falcons in the eliminator match at the Providence Stadium in Guyana on September the 16th. In the must-win encounter, Falcons got to a competitive score of 166 for 8 in their 20th over, but it proved to be no match for Captain Nicholas Puran and his TKR team as they stormed to victory with more than 2 overs to spare. So we want to say congratulations to Captain Puran and the TKR. So we expect to see a very, very exciting final. Also seeing there's a lot of things happening out here, you know. I am also seeing this gentleman here. Who is this gentleman? I saw this coming from Slam Scorch Radio 101 FM. And who is this gentleman here? His name, he's Movan-born Damian Meccano. He wins the Emmy for HBO Max, The Pit. So it says here, Trinidadian filmmaker Damian Meccano is celebrating his first Primetime Emmy Award winning as co-executive producer of HBO Max medical drama The Pit, which aired outstanding drama series at the 2025 ceremony. Meccano grew up in Movan before moving to the US, also directed 4 episodes of the show acclaimed first season, shot in real time to follow a single ER shift. The Pit went into the night with 13 nominations and walked away with 3 wins, including acting trophies for Catherine Lasnasa and Noah Weil. On social media, Meccano thanked supporters, gave thanks for life, for the work, and for the blessing along the journey. From the islands to the Emmy stage, every step is drag guidance. Before breaking into Hollywood with credits like Lawman, Bass Reeves, and Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, Meccano directed iconic soca music videos from Marshall Montano, The Fog, Float, and Represent. He now heads the Blue Cinnamon Group in California and is set to return for the Pit second season. And if you all remember, Bungie Garlin's song, I used to think it's the cow now raising up on something. That is, I don't think that is the words, but that was played on Grey's Autonomy. That is a medical, like, soap drama that is running for years in America. So we have people out there doing the work and flying our flag high. So let me get on to the thing now. So again, we have this situation where America is an international water down the Caribbean. They say they're here to treat and deal with narco traffickers and human traffickers and those type of crimes. And we welcome that help to help us in the fight of us in the Caribbean. To help us in the fight once everything is done lawfully. However, there are certain things that are happening that seem to have people a little concerned. So there's this gentleman, Sachs, I'm not seeing him here, who is an American podcaster. Where is he, director? Are you hearing me? I'm not seeing, I don't know where that went to, I'm not seeing it. I don't know why. But he had a lot to say and give his views on this whole situation with America down in the Caribbean and what they are doing. Director, if you're hearing me, I don't know if it was there. I'm not seeing it now. Otherwise, I'll just move on and come back to it. All right, I'll just move on and come back to it. Because it has no time to stick. Let me look one more time. Thank all those who are locked on Bounce Up channel and also on the Peeps on Facebook. Thanks to the love. Right, I'm seeing it here now. Thanks to the love you all continue to show me. So listen to this, gentleman.
The United States has been trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government for more than 20 years. They put a bounty on Maduro's head. It's all flagrantly vulgar, thuggish, and illegal.
But Professor, another issue that I want to talk to you about is, of course, what Trump has decided to do with Venezuela. What do you make of his moves? Is he starting another war? Because I was reading an editorial somewhere, and it called Trump's military moves bringing a howitzer to a knife fight. How do you see this?
The United States has been trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government for more than 20 years. It's engaged in a number of coup attempts, a number of covert operations. It started to try to overthrow Hugo Chavez, President Maduro's predecessor. It continued through the Maduro period. It has also involved really crushing sanctions that proved to be far more devastating, for example, than the sanctions on Russia, because Russia is a much more powerful country than Venezuela. But in the case of Venezuela, it led to a kind of economic collapse, which I think may literally be unparalleled in peacetime. The economy fell by well over 50% in terms of GDP. There's been a collapse of oil production, a collapse of living standards, mass outmigration. It did not topple the regime, as the U.S. said. A president in Latin America said to me that at a dinner that he attended with President Trump during President Trump's first term, Trump spoke openly about asking the rest of the group, well, why doesn't the U.S. just invade Venezuela? So this goes back for quite a while, in fact. This is a more than 20-year project with the CIA, with the military, with the White House. Marco Rubio, who was senator from Florida, has been the lead Senate opponent of Maduro. And so this is also part and parcel of ongoing U.S. policy. They put a bounty on Maduro's head. It's all flagrantly vulgar, thuggish, and illegal. And it is kind of the another example of America's delusion of hegemony. In this case, hegemony against a smaller power, not even a power, a smaller country in the Western Hemisphere.
Yes, so people are speaking out, not just in the Caribbean. So while our Prime Minister Kamala Harris seems to be caught in some type of I don't know what it is, some fantasy in her head about her being so great and recorded probably to be great. And probably not understanding or just refusing to understand that this thing is not a joke. This is not about likes and to get your supporters to say, oh, she's a badass. No, no, no. This has a lot of implication. And listen to what a reporter asked the General Secretary of the UN.
Question in Spanish. I just have a question on Venezuela. The United States has attacked vessels from Venezuela on 3 occasions. They were alleged to have been carrying drugs, and 14 people have been killed. What do you think about the legality of these actions? What right does the US have to do this? We don't have complete information yet about exactly what happened, but it is clear for us that it is absolutely essential to abide by international law in this domain.
Secretary General.
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Thank you for this brief.
Right? This is a serious thing, you know. Some people in Trinidad feel this is a big joke. They caught in, like when they're caught in danger, they caught in danger and feel this is a big joke. Like if we have a history of getting ourselves involved in these things. But them same ones and them who caught in danger and big enough coming up as a sister, when they looked for them to come out to stand up for anything, they home in their house hiding, you know. They ain't coming out, you know. Take chain up. When people drink the 2-cent rum, they just feel they big and they bad, you know. And when the rum way off, they realize the kind of show when they get up, all their eye bang up, their mouth bust, all kind of thing. They remember, they get people talk when they're drunk, telling themselves is a hero, and they get a good beat out. All right. So again, while our Prime Minister and her supporters and chief ministers and them, like they want to court some type of hostile kind of relationship between Venezuela and us and all that. This is what the Prime Minister of Grenada is saying. September the 17th, 2025, CNC3 news. The government of Grenada has expressed deep concerns about what is described as an escalation of activities in the Caribbean seas, warning that the region's stability and the livelihood of its people must be protected. The government said the Caribbean seas remains the lifeblood for fisher and inter-island traders whose safety and freedom of movement are paramount. It added that while illicit maritime activities pose challenges, these must be dealt with through lawful means and stronger regional cooperation. Dialogue and diplomacy are the only acceptable tools for resolving differences, the statement read. Grenada proudly maintains cordial and constructive relations with all its neighbors and in this spirit offers itself as a willing interlocutor and facilitator for peaceful dialogue. Reaffirming its commitment to the Caribbean as a zone of peace, Grenada calls on regional and international partners to respect and uphold this principle as tensions heighten. The only people who seem not to understand these things is the UNC and the supporters. This is what the president of Guyana had to say. You remember Kamala Pasadi says, I make it known. If Venezuela, I say it my way, when it touch Grenada, I mean Guyana, how should I allow the Americans to use here, I'm paraphrasing something, to launch the attack on Venezuela. This is what President Ifram Ali is saying. I want to make it very clear. Let me put up the picture so you will see what I'm talking about. Don't feel as me. Let me put it up. Ooh, la, 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 la. I want to make it very clear that our priority as a government and as a people is to ensure this region remains a zone of peace. September the 16th, 2025. While our Prime Minister Kamala Pasabi Sessa is choking fire, picking up for Guyana, under normal circumstances, nothing wrong, but there's no war, nothing between Venezuela and Guyana. They went to St. Vincent. There was a mediation process there. Everybody agreed. Whatever issue that Guyana and Venezuela has with the Essequibo, that has been going on forever and ever, they will allow that arbitration and whatever to continue. So there's no hostility between Venezuela and Guyana. But she jumped out to talk about if you touch Guyana, because she will allow Americans to come on we soil to attack Venezuela. The same, that I tell you, when you drink a 2 cent, this reminds me, you drink, I know made the analogy, when you drink a 2 cent rum, and you're talking all kind of choppiness, you go be this one, because the rum get your wings. When you get over the drunkenness, you get up, your eye bang up, your mouth bust up, all kind of thing, is because you get your ass whooped. That remind me of how our Prime Minister is behaving. Once that thing, and the people who are standing up in the fence, them jump out and say, let me put it back. The president and Guyana who you're talking big talk for, here wait till he say. Let me put it up again. I want to make it very clear that our priority as a government and as a people is to ensure this region remains a zone of peace. The only person talking war in the Caribbean is Kamala Pasadi Sessa. And who she want to say she protecting, them talking about zone of peace too. But, I say again, let me continue. So, this is Farley having his say about the situation in Venezuela. Because Tobago people start to say, we are here and you say nothing, you know. Say something, you know. So this is what he had to say. Because remember, Tobago's fisher folks, there was done had a challenge with Barbados, who the flying fish, and this has been going on for years and years and years. The flying fish has left Barbados because of different spawning, whatever, and it coming down to Trinidad, to Tobago, in Tobago waters. So the Bayesian fishermen coming down to get the flying fish. Well, Papa has caused bacchanal between them and Tobago fishermen or Trinidad and Tobago fishermen. So we already have that happening, and that happened yesterday. That up in court long time and all that. So these fishermen want to be sure they're safe now, because this thing with Barbados is Caribbean people, we were talking our thing, but this now it has shipped back out in the international water with bombing boat out the water and saying it had drugs and things because they say allegation. So then fishermen and them want to know. Next thing we going out there, and somehow we might drift or something, whatever, we get below the water too. And next thing they say, I don't. But anyhow, they wanted Fali to say something. I don't know if they feel comforted nor that Fali talk. If I was them, I wouldn't need to be comforted because Fali is no leader to me. But that is what they choose.
I tend not to make 6 schedule items my business.
But are you not worried for Tobago?
No, I'm not.
Are you concerned about the Tobago fisher for?
The US is not in Trinidad and Tobago waters. Our fisher folk has for a long time been complaining about outsiders in our waters. They should be the happiest now, because it means that there's a deterrent to outsiders moving from their waters through international waters into our waters. The Tobago fisher folk are law-abiding people. They don't carry drugs. They don't go in international waters. And so Tobago fisher folk operating within Tobago waters and within Trinidad and Tobago waters remain safe.
Notwithstanding that, we know Mr. Douglas, he has noted that the fishermen are still concerned, but has he communicated with you in any way indicating the fears that the fisher folk have?
No, I can't tell the last time Mr. Douglas has communicated with my office. In fact, the last communication I ever got from Mr. Douglas might have been a letter somewhere around the time of the oil spill issue. And I know for a fact ITOF has started writing the fisher folk on their claims. Because remember, the claims are directly with the IOPC, and so they are receiving the written notices and so on the validity of the claims directly from the international institution. But the last time I got any communication, written or otherwise, from Mr. Douglas was around the oil spill issue. I have not had any communication with him or from him for that matter.
Right, so I hope that the Tobago fishermen feel reassured. This gentleman here, I'm just playing it to make context. He would have said that he's a political whore, however you want to put it, or prostitute or whatever. I just want to play it back. It's very short because I want to come to something with him. So listen to him. That is a minister a junior minister in the Ministry of Housing, representing people. When people see him on YouTube, feed children, whatever it is, he's a minister. Listen to him.
I've been a whole times, but I don't.
Can you repeat that first, please?
You didn't get on the recording? In my mind, I wanted to choose the word.
Say it again. Oh. Say it again, Philip. Say it again.
I've been a whore. Paul, we've all. We've all.
Just say it one more time so I can make sure it isn't a great meme. I can put it in a great meme.
When the show done, clip that and just hit repeat. But we all.
Oh yeah. So are you saying, Philip, and I'm being very serious, is that you are being a political whore?
I've been a political whore.
Right, so he admitted he's a political whore, so he shouldn't be upset if people refer to him as that. So listen to this political whore.
Trinidad is part of the Indian diaspora. Trinidad has more people of East Indian descent in it than any other race. Modi come here to show Trinidad and Tobago that one of the most powerful nations in the world have Trinidad in his hands. And he will nuke Venezuela.
Right, that's what the host say. So I read something here from Michael Edmond Dihani, and I love to read his stuff. He said here, he called it Philip's mushroom cloud of nonsense. Philip Alexander, the whore, I put in that part, the whore. I like just saying the whore. You see this whore? I live in the Caribbean, whore. So Philip Alexander, I put in the word whore, really proven the old Trini saying, when you're playing smart, you just end up looking dotish. 5 days ago, this man was on a Facebook Live in full bacchanal mode, declaring that Narendra Modi have we in the palm of his hands, ready to drop nukes on Venezuela. Not policy, not facts, just pure theater. Even dragging race into it, as if Indo-Trinidadians could summon Indian nuclear arsenal like they call in a taxi. Fast forward to this morning, CNC3 put the simplest of questions to him. Do you actually have any evidence of this arrangement? Suddenly, the firebrand turned choir boy. I have no information on that. From mushroom cloud to blank stares in less than a week. His excuse? It was just a live video, a bit of a highball, right? Because nuclear weapons and foreign relations is the kind of thing you drop like a bad joke. He even tried to pivot the talk around America's submarines as if that somehow patches over the recklessness of his original claim. The kicker, he ended up saying he will stay more in his lane. Translation. He knows he get mashed up, but this isn't just a slip of the tongue. This is a junior minister with zero qualifications in foreign affairs opening his mouth and dragging 3 different countries into unnecessary bacchanal, all to look big on Facebook Live. And here's the bigger picture. Philip Edward Alexander, the whore, I put in the word whore, is less like a runaway CPAP truck and more like a leaking latrine. Loud, messy, and the stench spreads far beyond the spot where it sprang. Everybody around have to deal with the fallout, especially people who choose to install it in the first place. That's where Kamla Prasad sister comes in. She handpicked him. She elevated him. Now she owns the stinkness. Every time Alexander the whore opens his mouth, she bleeds credibility. Whatever you think of Dr. Amory Brown, he is right. How does a government insult multiple sovereign nations at once, then play victim when called out? Philip the Hoe, again I put him in the Hoe because he says he's a Hoe, is the gift that keeps on giving, but only to the PNF. For Kamala, he's dead weight and tied around her ankles. And the more she tries to pretend otherwise, the more the whole country smells the problem. Again, this is from Michael Edmond Dihani. So listen to what Mr. Dihani is speaking about.
Do you have any information that India has any sort of arrangement with Trinidad and Tobago for that to take place?
I have no information on that. We have a Minister of CARICOM and Foreign Affairs, and he would be the best person to talk to. Our Prime Minister is very clear, and our Minister of Foreign Affairs said, CARICOM and Foreign Affairs said, we're not responding well to threats. And we know that that is based on the fact that Trinidad has a lot of friends in the world. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be Trinidad's friend since April 28th.
Given it's a sensitive diplomatic topic, if you don't have that information, why would you make such a strong statement like that using the word nuke?
Oh my gosh, it was a live video. And yes, in live videos there would be hyperbole. But the reality of the situation is the President of the United States of America didn't just send 3 warships, he sent an Ohio-class submarine sitting somewhere at the bottom of the ocean in the southern Caribbean. Trinidad is protected from all of the bluster and the threats that's coming from Venezuela. That is what I was trying to say.
You've been accused of making things worse now. Do you think so?
Did Venezuela call my name? Or is Amory Brown preoccupied with me? Because I find people like Amory Brown preoccupied with me, and I don't want that. I don't want his attention. I don't want them talking about me. What I say is on behalf of Philip Edward Alexander. I'm not crossing any lines with them. They should stay in their lane.
The PM spoke about staying in your lane. Is this staying in your lane?
I think I am going to stay more in my lane after this. Yeah? Have a great day.
Listen to this one. All you hear that one? That political one? After he say what he say now, he had to run back and make it. He operating as he is a minister now, you know. He ain't no just a normal blogger talking a pack of rhetoric and all kind of stupidness and cussing and kind of. He is a minister now. But like you don't know how to transcend as a minister because again, no class. But then again, you say that you is a political hoe. We expect from a hoe get sell and buy for small money. And it am post smarter than you because what you get. Listen to me. So listen to this. Then up comes the Honorable Minister of Curriculum and Foreign Affairs. This one. So this was in the Guardian 22 hours ago. It's not 22 now. TNT pushed back against Venezuela. We do not respond well to threats. What she says, good, eh? And listen to what I'm reading. We do not respond well to threats at all. That was the defiant stance taken by Foreign and Caribbean Affairs Minister Sean Sobers during a telephone interview with Guardian Media, making it clear that his country would not be intimidated. I want to say that the country I feel he talking about is the country of UNC. With them on the fantasy island by themselves. I don't think them talking for Trinidad and Tobago and right-thinking citizens, the independent country or islands of Trinidad and Tobago. I think them talking about the country of UNC, where the code is yellow, and when UNC win, them on the island win. Let me continue. His comments came after Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez said Trinidad and Tobago, along with Guyana, could face reprisal if their territories was used by the United States in any military action against Venezuela. To those who sent a written statement from the United States, I'm referring to the government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, who have played along. I say to you, well, if they attack from your territory, you will also receive a response, and this is legitimate defense, Padrino warned. Last Thursday, Venezuela Vice President Delcy Rodriguez also cautioned, don't even think about it. Sobers stated that the government would safeguard its sovereignty while supporting U.S. efforts to combat transnational crime in the region. We all in the Southern Caribbean should be happy for the levels of intervention that is taking place by the U.S. here to finally have a zone of peace, he said. Now he started to introduce in the conversation something was zone of peace. But your Prime Minister, I don't know if you're smelling the fumes. Your Prime Minister is the one who is not talking about zone of peace. So because must be now, I'm just saying, you see your friend Allyuh, president, who always saying, oh, they're going to support and he's talking about zone of peace. The Grenadian Prime Minister always just went up to make talks with oil and all that. He talking about zone of peace. So like all the back treading. Just like the whole back tread when he talk about India. But the guy see recently, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Prime Minister Moody. I wonder if it was he up. I'm not sure, so we don't mention that. I'm not sure if he had the sea up with no, I'm not sure. That was with Russia president, China, I think the one with Yongshu, can't remember the man name too good, and them. So I'm not sure, can't remember. Anyway, let me continue. I'll even put it for a little see who talking this talk. Any other conversation contrary to that has to be coming from somebody who is happy with the state of affairs that we inherited as an administration, which is a murderous, runaway, forced Caribbean community where crime and criminality is affecting the majority of the countries within the Caribbean. So I want to pause here for a minute. Let me take a picture because again, I'm starting to feel like I have wings to fly. He said that they inherited that. But in 2010-15, if he wasn't aware, Honorable Minister, your Prime Minister, who is Prime Minister now, call a curfew, a state of emergency, and lock up one set of African youths thousands and thousands and thousands of Africans without any charge. There was a SOE. Not only that, when they came into office, they say the fight is on land, not on sea. So get rid of OPVs, blimp everything, leave the border porous because the fight is on land. Not only that, when the PNM government under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, when all those Caribbean islands came to Trinidad to talk about crime, the symposium, and they wanted to declare it as a mental health issue, your Prime Minister now, Mr. Sobers Honorable, scoffed at the idea, joked at the idea, wanted no part of that. They didn't take part in it, they didn't vote it, nothing at all. So when you talk about inheriting crime and all that, the UNC never did anything, in my opinion, based on what I now say, to treat with crime in any real way. So don't be trying to draw no blame on nobody just because people around the world are not agreeing with the conversation that your Prime Minister having about allowing allowing America to come on we soil to launch attack against Venezuela if Venezuela go and do anything to Guyana. And we see the Guyana president who now got reinstalled again, he ain't talking nothing about Venezuela, nobody thinking him nothing. He even mentioned Trinidad. He say he priority. So keep the population basically safe and keep this waters, this area here as zone of peace. So the people who want to jump out on them is standing up at all. So next thing, as everybody was saying, international people with international relations and other people saying, when you spin wrong, you spin wrong. After all, you chain up all yourself and join with America. When America gone and we spin wrong, we mightn't have nobody who will support Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. And remember, we just sell a lot of our goods, manufactured goods. The manufacturing sector make a lot of money from Jamaica. The last time this same woman, this same Prime Minister created such a bacchanal with Jamaica, with saying about ATM machine, that they start to pull all the manufacturers' goods off the shelf. And it's Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley had to go to Jamaica to speak to the now president and the Prime Minister who get re-elected again, Golden, I think so, and quell that, So it seems that the UNC have a history of mashing up because, in my opinion, like they can't manage. So let me continue a little, two more, and I done with this. The medicine insisted that TNT was in 100% support of American intervention in this particular case and stressed that relations with Caracas remains intact. I don't understand what stupidness them be talking. If you bad talking your neighbor, every time you're going out and telling people that your neighbor don't take your short, your neighbor is a old hoe, your neighbor this, your neighbor train running while your neighbor this, your neighbor that, your neighbor this, and then you turning wrong and telling people, nah, me and my neighbor good boy. How does that work? All about talking the Nicolas Maduro government or administration every day, calling him man all kind of thing. And then talking about how could your relationship be intact in Caracas when all they continue to talk about a man who was duly elected based on the election. Me and all the runnings, the innings, but at an election, Venezuela people choose see whether it's some halfway, whatever, they choose see. How do you think Venezuelan people feeling that you're always saying all them kind of thing, but the president of Venezuela, whether they some support Maduro or not, the thought that always saying all will allow America to come on Trinidad soil to attack Venezuela that way. Simon Bolivar, children and grandchildren and all the children of Venezuela, think they will like them kind of thought. They will come together under common bond because all you're saying, Honorable Minister and Prime Minister, that you all will allow America to come on Trinidad soil, who is about 7 miles away from Venezuela. If you go up, see, just I see it for myself. You could stand up and see people moving in some island across. I was like, where is this? I said, Venezuela. I said, what the hell? Look, people walking there. First it closed. America is from 1,000 miles from here. We 7 miles or something from here, and all you're encouraging the conversation that if Venezuela do Guyana, anything, and all they know very well, Guyana, Venezuela, and the rest of the Caribbean went in St. Vincent and had mediation talk, and they backed down the scene, they learned the law deal with that. All they're talking about is Venezuela do how that come in, and then saying no. All in Caracas good. Look now, they're drinking something that nobody never make before, yes? Let me continue because I'm finishing. No, I ain't able with this. You see all this long set of water we talk? Just one more paragraph and I go there. Let me see right. To all else who threatens about who there and who is this and who is that and who is not and who coming and who going, that's their business. They can say what they want in Venezuela with the greatest of respect, he said. And you see that the bullshit I don't understand. Look now, Sean Sobers, all good, yes? Let me continue. With all due respect, Minister. All due respect, Minister. So, I see something here from Yanana. There's something I wanted to play with Mr. Samuel, but because about 7 minutes long, I won't play it today. But it speaks about how he said UNC supporters and how the UNC treated him with so much hate and so much scorn because the same type of hard questions you used to ask Dr. Rowley about, and everybody was cheering him on and putting him in Superman thing and saying, yes, he's the best. You know, jam him, and how Rowley under the gun, Now that he's asking the same type of question to the UNC, the kind of hate getting. It is amazing. I'll play that the next day, but I basically was talking about, I'll play it another day. Because you all need to hear, or they think it easy. Once you are a person of Indian descent and they feel you supporting the PNM, what are you, And I'm seeing every day, once you're black and intelligent, they fire you. Every day I'm seeing them firing or sending home black intelligent people. And the Indians who they're sending is them who they must feel is supporting the PNM. I don't know what kind of country we come into, but again, the people who went around telling people not to vote and who said, oh, I see a man call on the radio. That is not true, that nobody was going around. And I don't know where you live in. People from PNM was going around and telling people don't vote for PNM. Or if you that's a Nancy story or what? People was doing that. And then, of course, it's who ain't come out and vote. I tell you, somebody in a constituency tell me. The minister in that constituency say you don't like no old people around him, and he say that in the presence of the elderlies, is them that's had a meeting and holy meeting, and they get offended. They say you only want young people. And the person tell me, when was he there for election and thing? She went around to them and said, don't study where he's staying. Don't study where he's staying. We come out and vote for the party. That is how he barely win. That same individual, a type of man everybody know from that area. Always a little contract had the workers working and them women working, had thing running nice, a reputable man. I know that individual since I was 17 years old. PJ. I know the man as PJ. I know him since I was 17 years old because I grew up in Orchetta. Take away all the man contract, everything, all them kind of thing. All that watchmen on. All that sit down there and all that nana land. And say, no, it's not so. It didn't happen. It happened. And all because of what? I will say my opinion, jealousy, and they don't want you to talk about it. They just want you to go along and not going along to get along with nothing. Let me deal with the foolishness that's happening and let me cut out this thing and get the thing right. But talk the truth. All they want nobody talk the truth. All they want me just fall back and say, no, it didn't happen, so and it happened so. And then people have feelings. All they alone have feelings. All they alone must talk and do all they want to say and nobody else must say nothing. We just go along. That's not how things work. This is 2025. I think this is 2060s. I mean, the 1960s, 1980s, and things. This is a different time. No? So, I see that Mr. Ian Allen is speaking out like they want to censor the things that he putting up or some kind of bacchanal. And they used to call Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley a dictator and a tyrant, but Dr. Rowley never stopped none of them from cussing him, from saying the worst thing about him, whether it's Ian Allen, whether whoever it is. Everybody can say what they want, but Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. He never called a radio station, he never called a TV station to tell them, don't say this, don't say that. But it seemed like, no, that was say. Once he's of Indian descent and he ain't going with the flow, they feel they're representing, you're supporting PNM, so they jump in. Now, once you're black, well, of course, you're a PNM, so you know you're getting jumpy right through. So listen to Mr. Yanal.
No government official could call me and tell me you don't like what you see on my page. Because let me tell you something, whether you like it or not, we were doing it for the PNM too. We were reporting news, red and yellow, everywhere across Trinidad and Tobago, we were reporting. And I realized there are certain persons who think you could call people and call my studio and tell me take down this and take down that. This is not a line that I am hanging clothes on. I have no need to take down. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. I respect people's office, but don't come and feel that you could bully me and bully my persons who are posted. Remember, I am not responsible for that. And I want to make it clear and abundantly clear and pellucidly clear. I am not responsible for what you see on that page. Of course, I have influence, but I try to maintain a certain degree of independence when I publish news. And sometimes I wouldn't like it. I might say, I find, oh God, I know that person or this or that. But then you expect to get the news from me. And that is the problem that everybody have in tongue. Because they, to a certain extent, in the past or whatever, politics influence their news. So they know what to put in front. They know what to put on a newspaper. Certain things they wouldn't report. But when you go to Ian Allen Network, you get it. But I realize a trend, and I see it again. Up to yesterday, I saw it again. There's a trend where persons are calling. No, you don't work like that. Because I'm not saying anything bad. The persons, the staff that we hire, the researchers, we are not saying anything bad. But we are reporting the news. We have a duty to report the news. We are not mashing up anybody, but it is the news. So please, 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 you stay in your lane, I will stay in my lane. I will always be Ian Allen, you know. Always, as I mentioned to someone, I have weathered years and years of storm and I am still standing. But all these things that are going on, it's like, at the end of the day, only the people suffer. That's it. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I just had to tell you, and listen, and pray to God, you don't end up like this. Pray to God. Pray to God is not your turn. Pray to God. And if you have any information, get in contact with me, please. I'm not looking for friends. I might be, you see, and I would tell you something, don't take the comic side of me, where I just fun around. Don't take that side of me for a weak side, eh? Don't ever put that in your head and feel I'm a jokey guy. I'm not a jokey guy. I can go to 0 to 200 and you'll be surprised to know if I am still, you would be surprised to know if that is the Ian Allen you know. I'm a real nice fella. But you just have to know to rub me the right way, that's all. But I just realized there's a trend. There's a trend. It is not the first time, it is not the second time, it is not the third time, it is not the fourth time. That certain persons might like how my researchers might structure a story and they take offense. Take it down. Okay. Okay.
That's how the thing rolling now. So our CJ was the youngest CJ ever. Ivan actually has resigned. The law term opened yesterday and he would have announced there. Today also the industrial court would have had their ceremony with all their judges, all that. Rudy Indarsing is one of the judges. And I have my queries about that, just the way they were querying Achong, saying he's a PNM or something to that effect. I too have my queries about Rudy Darcy because I know visibly he's a UNC. Yeah, I ain't know much about the Achong gentleman and all that. If he was or whatever, but up until recently, Rudy Indar Singh was very visibly UNC, supporting UNC on the platform and all that. So he's a judge in industrial court. And that reminds me of deceased Herbert Volney. And that's another conversation. So as I said, she has resigned, and there are a lot of people who may be happy. There are a lot of people who may not be. But there's one person in particular who was very, very volatile against the CJ. I don't know why. And I will get to that. So let me read a little about Ivachi. And at the end of it, I want to thank the former CJ for his service to Trinidad and Tobago. Ivachi, or RTT, born August 18, 1960, that is what I'm seeing here from Wikipedia, is a Trinidadian jurist who has served as Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago since 2008. He was formerly Solicitor General of the Cayman Islands from 1995 until his return to Trinidad and Tobago in 1998. A little about his career. He graduated with a BSc in Mechanical Engineering, upper second class honors from the University of the West Indies in 1980. He worked as an engineer at Trintoplan Consultants Limited in Trinidad and at Schumberger in Libya. She then studied law at the Solent University in Southampton, England, receiving his LLB in 1984. He received his legal education certificate at Hugoden Law School in St. Augustine. He was admitted to the Bar of Trinidad and Tobago in 1986. Archie worked initially for Clark and Company. He then served as State Counsel and Senior Crown Counsel for the governments of Trinidad and Tobago, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Cayman Islands. He was Solicitor General of the Cayman Islands and acted on occasion as the Attorney General. On the 1st of March 1998, he was appointed a presiding judge of the Supreme Court of Judicature. He became a Justice of Appeal on the 2nd of April 2004 and Chief Justice on the 24th of January 2008. He is the 8th Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago and the youngest person to have taken the role. He is Chairman of the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Judicial Education Institute, and a Fellow of the Board of the Commonwealth Judicial Education Institute. In 2013, he received the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In 2018, he lost a legal battle to prevent the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago, LATT, and from investigating allegations over his close ties to Dylan Johnson, a gay man and convicted felon who fled Trinidad after surviving an attempted shooting. LATT conducted his investigation and voted to report Archie to the Prime Minister, who has sole authority in Trinidad and Tobago for recommending discipline and removal of judges. Prime Minister Keith Rowley declined to pursue impeachment, saying that he had been advised there was a lack of evidence. So that is the controversy that the CJ would have been embroiled in, but that does not take away from his sterling contribution to Trinidad and Tobago as Chief Justice. Because one of the things I know that he would have done, because the first country in the Caribbean that has two children courts, that was due to Chief Justice Ivachi. So we have, before children used to go in the big court on St. Vincent Street and other places where adults were. There are two children court. Once you're under 18, Sinclair, Elizabeth Street, Sinclair, and there's one in Faisabad. I have done peer resolution there. I did some training, and I would have seen the workings of the court. The only thing that it does not have is adults in the sense of running everything, but the marshal of the court is an adult, then the police officer, they and all that. All those things are done legally, but when the child who has been brought before the children court, it's their peers who they have to speak to and are questioned by the peers, and the peers are the ones who come up with, once it's a non-criminal event. So if it's like larceny or vandalism and that type of thing, they treat with that. And the children are the, when I say children, the peers, right, are the ones who would come up with the punishment, for want of a better word, how it's done and how long and all that, and the masters of the court will look it over, and once it is done legally and properly, that is what the child who is so accused or who has been found guilty, excuse me, has to do in order to repay, retribution, restoration, and stuff like that. If there's also a drug facilitation also for children who may have challenges with drug abuse, whether it's alcohol, marijuana, or if it's harder than that. And so it's a very proactive court, and it functions in a way that there's a lot of successes in terms of children under 18 having a place to be heard. Of course, the parents are there, so they don't just come by themselves. Sometimes the parents will report the child. Sometimes the police bring the child because of XYZ. So the Chief Justice would have been very influential in having those two courts in Trinidad and Tobago. Again, on Elizabeth Street in Sinclair and in Fyzabad. So let me continue. So there's an individual who would have spoken about, so happy about the Chief Justice resigning. And I saw something written by Shoma Wilson, and I liked what she wrote about. So I am going to read from it. Can skewed integrity, good riddance to CJ Ivachi. What is good for the goose isn't good for the gander. A couple of years ago, Israel Khan tells Kamala to return her silk. He does not accept or recognize her as an attorney deserving the status of senior counsel. He questioned her receiving the honor of silk, asking for particulars of her practice as an attorney. Khan further told her, you are an experienced politician, and politics has a morality of its own. And in your quest to undermine and thus destroy the credibility of your opponent, Dr. Keith Rowley, you are attacking the merit, ability, and integrity of his chosen Attorney General. In a letter in which he minced no words, Khan said Prasad Visesa baseless attack on the integrity of the members of the inner bar, those who have attained senior counsel status, was obscene. So Israel Khan SC, you're big on integrity, but conveniently. However, despite his strong condemnation of Prasad Visesa, Khan said he will still support her as the UNC leader and will still vote to make her the next prime minister by voting for the UNC candidate for the Tanapuna electoral district at the next general election. So never mind her attainment of silk is questionable and points to dishonesty. You said you will still support her as prime minister. While it is good riddance for CJ Ivachi, integrity is timeless, not convenient. It's either you have or you don't. Israel can't SC so Allyuh, just people to watch away. Israel can't SC would have said good riddance to the CJ, and he went on to say a lot of things. And his songs to me, his tone always come across as aggressive and hateful and vindictive. I might be totally wrong. So I saw this and I like what it says, jealousy. Jealousy is a complex, painful emotion rooted in the fear of losing something or someone valued to a third party, often involving feelings of insecurity, anger, and resentment. It occurs in the triangle of relationships, the person experiencing jealousy, their partner or object of desire, and the rival. While the normal reaction is to perceive threats, excessive jealousy can harm relationships and stems from issues like poor self-esteem or a fear of abandonment. Key characteristics, fear or loss. The core of jealousy is the fear of losing a valued relationship, person, or possession to a rival. Triangle of relationship. Jealousy always involves three parties: the jealous person, the person they care about, and the perceived rival. It's a multifaceted feeling that can include anger, suspicion, fear, sadness, inadequacy, and possessiveness. The threat from a rival may be real or imagined. Envy, so distinction from envy. Envy, a desire for someone else's possession, traits, or advantages involving two people. Jealousy, however, is a fear of losing what one already has or desires involving three people. I wonder who is the three people. Common causes and manifestation: insecurity. A poor self-image or low self-esteem can make someone more prone to jealousy. Fear. Fear of betrayal, abandonment, or losing control often fuel jealous feelings. Comparison. Constantly comparing oneself to others or feeling one's life situation is lacking. Past trauma. Previous experiences of abandonment or hurtful events can increase jealousy. Impact of jealousy. Relationship damage. Persistent or extreme jealousy can be destructive to relationships. Negative health effects. Jealousy can negatively impact mood, stress levels, and sleep. Destructive behavior. Consuming jealousy can lead to negative actions against others. So I don't know what's happening there. CJ, again, thank you for your service to Trinidad and Tobago. Kurt Mayhew. Kurt Mayhew, this 20 hours ago, not 20 still, any news day, UNCPRO sees no conflict. Mayhew and company behind Maracas Eco Resort. UNC Public Relations Officer and Corporate Communications Specialist in the Ministry of Trade, Investment, and Tourism, Dr. Kurt Mayhew. Let me tell you where he is again. UNC Public Relations Officer, jobs for the boys and girls. UNC Public Relations Officer, this man had his own political party against Kamala Harris. In fact, he marched with Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley when there was the biggest march ever in the history of Trinidad and Tobago against Section 37. Kurt Mayhew was right there. UNC Public Relations Officer and Corporate Communications Specialist in the Ministry of Trade, Investment, and Tourism, Kurt Mayhew, or who, says he does not see any conflict arising out of him being a director of a private company seeking to build and operate a luxury eco-conscious resort at the Maracas Lookout. While set to receive no state funding, Newsday was told that this resort, in earmarked to open in 2027, will be endorsed by the government. The project, 15 years in the making, is being spearheaded by private firm Global Communique Resorts Limited and would see the construction of 2 hotels, 2 restaurants, 5 villas, a marina, and other amenities, all powered by solar energy. Thank God for Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and Stuart Richard Young, SC, because they are the ones who would have started that whole solar system, the Brian something. What was the name of it, boy? Somebody will put it up and thing. All you know I'm talking about with the wind, so the sun, the solar thing, and that kind of background. That was under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and Minister Stuart Young, Member of Parliament Stuart Young, who was the Minister of Energy at the time. So the PNM again make track for Booty to run. The project endorsed by Trade, Investment, and Tourism Ministry. The Fiji resort is managed by a board of directors led by Chairman Anthony Pinto, Corporate Secretary Peter Taylor, and directors Kurt Mayhew, Colin Coker and Roger Gordon. I really know more. Probably the reason why Kurt Mayhew don't see it as no conflict, maybe because of this. Because when Minister Stewart every time recused himself from conversation in the joint select committees and stuff, where it might have been probably some whatever business or whatever it is, recuse themselves from that so that there's no favoritism or nepotism or anything like that. They use the word recusal if it was a crime, when it was something honorable that he was doing. But here Kurt Mayhew is on the board of directors who is going to be involved in the building of some equal something in Maracas that this government endorsing. He say he ain't see no conflict. But probably he ain't see no conflict because of this. This was an article written by Mr. Freddie Ferreira, and this was in 2020. And it's have a little area in it I always like to read, because I say probably that is what informs some people of Indian descent behavior when they in government. It says here, the failure of Indian leadership in the Caribbean by Dr. Vishnu Bisram, Volume 3, Number 1 of 2002. It appears that the Indian leaders are more attracted to the trappings of cocktail parties, first-class travel, five-star hotel, etc., of being in office rather than bringing about meaningful change in society or genuinely representing the interests of their supporters. Appeasing the other side and neglecting their own supporters became the hallmark of their policy. Filling their pockets through kickbacks, awarding government contracts became their number one priority. They did everything to make a quick buck for themselves, and they set up close relatives in businesses rather than doing something to ameliorate poverty and suffering of their supporters or the society as a whole. Loyalty rather than competence was rewarded. The Indian party became the party of one-man rule. That is the words there I'm seeing from this article of Dr. Vishnu Bishra. So it may not be no surprise that Kurt Mayhew don't see a conflict of interest, that he's a director on the company, on the board of the company that is going to be building some equal something in Maracas. So we'll see no recusal there. Let me continue. Then go there. And then again, the party that he has now aligned himself to, listen to what he had to say a little while back. So that's why I tell you, loyalty seems to be the mantra of the day. Listen to him and the political who.
That ringed the country, connected by the 360-degree radar that we bought, that could have seen into Florida and Brazil, that would have seen anything coming linked by sonar boys equipped with fast attack helicopters and interceptor boats, would have stopped and searched every marine craft out at sea for drugs, guns, human trafficking, and other contraband. And it would have ended drug trafficking and money laundering in this country. How come the UNC did not do that? One.
So you have these corrupt elements everywhere in the society, and they will infiltrate political parties. I'm not stupid. We all know that.
Dr. Kirk Mayhew, are you saying that the UNC was infiltrated with drug money?
I don't know about drug money. I can't say, but they certainly were.
Okay. So to the Honorable Foreign Affairs Minister, Sean Sobers, he was talking about the crime and whatever. Listen to what Philip Alexander said. That's only minister, junior minister in HEC. He basically said the UNC responsible for crime in Trinidad and Tobago when they removed all the apparatus that Mr. Mallon and the PNM were putting in place. And to Kurt Mayhew, the same party that you talk about with human trafficking and this and all, they talk all this crime thing, that's the same party you are lying to right now. So when again I read what Dr. Vishnu Bishram said, I'm inclined to believe what he says. When Indians in political power is nothing to do with good governance and to help the supporters and society at large. It's just about them, kickback, cocktail party, jobs to friends and family, contracts to friends and family, cocktail party. Those are the things, and you're falling very nicely there, Kurt Mayhew. But they want to tell we of African descent, but we history and we heritage, go and learn about yours. You will be surprised. So let me continue. So I want you all to listen to this gentleman called Rambles. I don't know how old he is. I say gentleman because he's a man who's speaking up. Listen to what he's saying here, and he's very correct, in my opinion, is what he's saying. So I move on from the Ho and Mongru.
This video is just so that we are all on the same page, because I hate when we are on different pages. So just to go through the facts here, I saw an article earlier on where the new finance minister is saying that they are proposing to increase the deficit in the budget by a further 3.1 billion in addition to the deficit we already have that we should be reducing. And I'm just like, wait, hold on. So Trinidad and Tobago, a country with a falling GDP year on year for the past 15, 20 years, where our main source of revenue, the oil and gas sector, is also failing because our oil production is down. We are finding it harder and harder to find new sources of oil. Two short-term measures to bring in money in the gas side of things in our energy sector fell apart, and you all were happy and rejoicing about it, so that's out of the door. And while all of it is happening, we have low productivity across the country. So no revenue coming in. We have a cabinet that is the size of 3 football teams. We have the main football team, a sub-football team, a backup football team, and still too many on the bench just in case. We need a man to bring water for us. We have assistant ministers to the assistant ministers who are sub-ministers in a subgroup next to our next minister who's an assistant minister to our next assistant minister. That's how sticky thing is right now. And because populist government, you all scrapped property tax, the people cheered. You all scrapped the revenue authority, again the people cheered. Then you all promised to start wage negotiations at 10% and go up from there. You know, Ansel Roger. Once a couple months pass and he ain't getting what Allyuh promised him, he gonna start to make noise. So eventually, that 10% gotta come from somewhere. And because you are apparently balling like that, just rolling in though, you all are bringing back the laptop program. And to save face, you all are saying, well, if a child have one, just say you don't want one. Okay, alright. And you all plan to do all that without touching the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, without going to the World Bank, and without going to the IMF, or devaluing the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Okay. I don't know what type of economics this is. It goes against everything I learned in school. It goes against everything I learned in business. But if all I say it could work, it could work. The most I could do is just sit down and engage in some efficient capital flight in my free time, because I am not stupid. I'm just smart enough to understand that you must bring in revenue if you want to keep a country running. You can't just keep raising the deficit. We are not America. We just print money from thin air. Something will have to give. I'm telling you, I'm putting it on record right now. Something is going to have to give unless we make a significant oil and gas find in the next couple of years, which I'm actually praying for, because despite popular belief, I don't really want them to fail when it comes to the economy, you know, because when the economy collapses, it's not going to collapse on only the red, or only the blue, or only the yellow, or me down here who just don't vote. It's going to collapse on everybody else. Unfortunately for many of you, they're accustomed to hardship. I'm not accustomed to hardship. So while I'm hoping for the best, I'm not going to be naive, because you see this Twilight Zone economics that they love to run. Every time when they come into power, raise the deficit. I am serious about my finance. You ever just check your online banking at 3 a.m. in the morning just because it's random to make sure, hey, everything's still there? Sometimes I catch them sleeping. I opened my Scotia Bank app 2 days ago. This service is temporarily unavailable. I was like, what temporarily unavailable? You talking about? Just so? And my money is earlier. You're paying up. Anyway, it fixed itself a few minutes later. But I hope you're on the same page now as to what the proposed action is, how they're going to go about it, and where the money coming from, I don't know. Voodoo magic or something. Hope for the best. Don't hold your breath.
Again, so when public officers are saying because they see NIB, workers get their money, that would mean that we're going to get the money too. So on that note, with Anko and I'm going to get the money, listen to what Dr. Rowley had warned us about.
When you get to that point where the checks will bounce in the bank, you cut the liability of requiring to write the checks. You know what that means? When the government finds itself in a position not being able to pay the payroll, ask Barbados what happened. It's tens of thousands of public servants that come off the payroll. Governments don't have you on the payroll working and can't pay you. they take you off the payroll. In this country, anybody who is telling you that they will incur expenditure that we all know the revenues cannot support, they are telling you in code that they intend to cut the public service. And let me tell you what my source of information tells me when I try to understand what the UNC is about. You know what the UNC is saying quietly and secretly? If they ever get to that situation where they come into office and they can't pay the bills that they're committed to and they cut the public service, is mainly PNM supporters that will be affected, because the bulk of the public service is East-West Corridor people supporting the PNM. That is the conversation inside the UNC. And that is why they can't tell you, when you ask them, how are you talking about increasing expenditure by a 2 billion here and a 6 billion there and whatever?
That was before the general elections. While they haven't touched the public service as yet, 10,500 CPEP workers in one fell swoop, before even 2 months the UNC in office, sent home. And then after that, workers after workers in hundreds had to go. Reforestation sent home. They had the unfortunate situation. Husband and wife working reforestation lost their job. The father committed suicide. We have so many things going on. And I ask myself, is these all cuts and cuts here and cuts here to make money or to pull money to buffer the budget? I'm just asking. But how long could you do that? Because I would tell you, while NIB may be able to pay the 9%, the board and NIB able to pay the 9% to the workers and incur the recurring expenditure every month, because them doesn't make money. The general public service don't make money, just facilitate based on paperwork and making money, whereas NIB does actually make money. The ADB, Agricultural Development Bank, does make money. Central Bank does deal with money. WASTA does deal with money. You understand? You see the trend? Tech does deal with money. So while NIB may be able to sustain the increases in salary for their workers, the employees, and able to maintain that recurring expenditure, the public service is a different story. So whatever money they're going to get to say they're giving public officers, while the arrears might be a one-off thing, you have to find money every month for the increase in salary. That becomes recurring expenditure. Where they getting money for that from? So am I asking, is it cut here in this job, cut here in that job? Is it to make up money to buffer the budget? There's allegations that the Prime Minister is going up to America and is to collect some kind of $90-something million. I don't know how true it is. Is that to buffer the budget? But then again, those things are not sustainable. It is alleged you can't borrow money on the local market because they can't pay back. Because if you're borrowing, you have to be able to show, in simple terms, you go and borrow money from the bank, you have to have collateral. They want to know if you can't pay, you can seize the house, you can seize your car, something. If you have nothing, you ain't getting it. So is it that this government having a real challenge to get money borrowed? Well, we know they're going to jump into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. But there's a part of that fund I understand is for those purposes. But there's another part of it where you can interfere. So will they be going to Parliament to make law to interfere with every damn thing now because they can't pay? Or are we going to the IMF? We will wait to see. And it is not a far-fetched idea. Listen to this. So Dr. Rowley warned us after the election, you all voted UNC, thousands of workers gone home now. Listen to what Stuart Young would have said. Another warning we get. Everybody think it's a joke. Everything is a get. Listen to this.
And remember, I told you this here tonight. First thing they will say, get rid of CPEP. Get rid of URP. Get rid of reforestation. All the contract workers in the government, get rid of them. If the UNC gets their way and they start with their bag of poison goodies, it is going to lead to a devaluation. If UNC wins, you lose.
That is what then Prime Minister, Minister of Energy would have said. And like they had a crystal ball, so said, so done. I saw this and because at the end of the day, people can say all what they want to say and all they want to say. Elections are won by people voting or not voting. Elections are won with people getting on board and being excited by what they're seeing and want to be a part of that movement. Elections are won not only by people over 60 years old, over 50 years old, over 70 years old. There's a whole catchment of voters, 18 to about 45. Those on the fence, who especially in these times with the advent of technology so advanced and all that, they may want to hear the same old talk. They don't want to see people who was this since Moses was a baby. Those things are facts, you know. These things that are being said to be hurtful to nobody, you know. It's a factual thing. Young people don't want to see young people. Although we just say, all they want to set a young people and can handle it, but at the end of the day, it has to have a mix. But if you want to energize, because it could be a person, an elderly person, when I say elderly, it could be a person in his 60s or even 70s, in their 80s. But because you had that kind of spirit, that young spirit, that the young people still gravitating towards you, and they say you real cool, man. They see your vibes because you kind of bridge their ideas, bridge yours, and there's a connectivity. So they don't find that you're outdated. They find that you're hip and you're up to things and all that kind of thing. So it's not impossible. But relatively speaking, young people that's wrong. So they want to see them set our old people because all they're saying is the same old, not new. Them set our old people, they long. They don't say that. They don't say that. And it's because that's how they feel. They feel that they're out of touch. They might start to say the same thing about me just now. Or they must be done saying it. Out of touch with the young people, or they don't understand me, or they don't get me. We ain't able with this thing. These things are real. And I'm bringing it to the PNM straight because they don't like what I'm saying and the this, and I hear all that, you know. Jennifer Frederick can make all the lost no election. Because if all they're doing the right thing and people believe in all they, nobody will study what I have to say. If when all they go out there and all they talk, all they convincing, all they telling the truth, and all they attractive to the people, the young people, all that, don't matter what the hell Jennifer Frederick say, nobody have me to study. But once all they study, why saying it because I hit the nail on the head. And if all they don't want to change all their modus operandi because of their ego, then all they're serious. But wrestling back this country from this madness that we have, that is UNC. All they're serious. And if all they're just comfortable rallying around the leader because she's a woman and she there a long time and we done so, what we gonna do? All they're serious, but wrestling back the country from the morass came and bacchanality. Or let us start to be mature in our thinking. And if we hold on to this little group of people and just going with that to protect probably all their own interests and all their own self-interests, because if she there, you could get this and get that. Imagine the Honorable Carmen Bird speaking about PNM, don't listen, and communication, all that. It is alleged by a lot of people talking, say the most arrogant, unfriendly. You can talk to him. He said talk to you all how. He not taking interview. He balling up people. He stand up there in front we face as a deputy political leader to tell me about communication. PNM don't listen. You guilty as charged, sir. So those are the things people watching and having problems with. Imagine the next deputy political leader went out in the General Council meeting, gone out there and by talking Dr. Rowley, bringing down Dr. Rowley. Dr. Rowley's the worst. And Dr. Rowley gave her start in politics. Make her senator, make her minister of labor. And she go, young people watching that. Where your loyalty, where your ethics? And only want people to follow that. The next deputy political leader, a young, energetic young man. But never really do anything. Young on the block, wherever learn still. All the claim deputy political leader. But all they have a problem. And since Stuart Young just come. And Stuart Young just since PNM was in opposition. So the conflicting messages are sending to people who support Stuart Young, who don't support Stuart Young, who support Ms. Beckers, who don't support she, who support nobody at all, or they're sending mixed messages. And this wrongs me in. People want a mixed message. Say what you mean, do what you mean to do, and be truthful doing it. That's all people are asking. So don't make Jennifer Frederick and Darian Marcel and Eric no problem. Where's not the problem, the PNM, in the position it is? Whether we talk or we talk, they go still be so because of the leadership. And if we wasn't hitting the nail on the head, nobody had time to study me. Because not now I have my life and talking. Where's the big deal now? But you see, when you know that you don't have the ability, and plenty of them who supporting the opposition leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckers, belated, happy belated birthday, ma'am. At the end of the day, it's not no personal thing with me and you. You don't know me, I don't know you. I know politics and what I see. So that's why that's going. I don't know. I see, the thing. They say it's a nice lady. I see her once and say, hi, Ting, whatever, a nice lady. Me, I talking about politics. We ain't this nice thing and all, politics. I'd rather to have a Rottweiler who gets any work done than to have a nice lady everybody like, and we ain't getting nothing done. Plenty of who supporting the political leader, opposition leader, only know to herself or herself that she not ready. But don't tell me no stupid about don't talk them thing and you open because they never stop. Mr. Jennifer Petit's primers, or they never stop. Robert Lee Hunt. Don't tell me no stupidness. And then big in the party. Or they never stop them and tell them don't bring PNM business out in the road. So don't tell me no stupidness, but I must stop talking PNM thing. Me not big inside no PNM. I is a citizen who just know the PNM is the best party in this country. So don't tell me no stupidness about I talking and bringing out what? I can't bring out what they had it to bring out. Well, again, as I tell you, when all PNM business should have stayed inside and deal out in General Council and wherever inside PNM, Mrs. Baptiste Primers bring it out in the road, dirty and stinking the road. But all they didn't mind because she was bad talking Dr. Rowley because they so hate Dr. Rowley, the man who gave all the political careers. Who don't like what he's saying, they can drop off my life. It's not a problem because truth does hurt. They tell Dr. Rowley all kind of thing in this country. Or they call the man all kind of thing, and the man give all the political career. And he hold it down during COVID-19. He hold it down when he meet a recession. No love and thanks for that. Or they say all kind of thing about the man. And today, you can't say nothing about the political leader because we bringing down the party and bringing down. Look what they're saying all in Nana Land, yes? So as I was saying again, before I go all there, the PNM need to attract young people. The few that it have, that's not enough. The PNM need to attract people who are on the fence. And what they have there now, it's not attracting nobody. It's only still attracting people, and it's because what we talking, why people, no, it has nothing to that. People watching them and seeing it and nothing attractive. That is a fact. Okay? So if all you don't want to do what is need to be done to bring the PNM to a level and a standard, to have a fighting chance, I'm happy for you. I'm real happy for you. I have one vote. My member of parliament is Stuart Richard Young. I live in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, so that is where my vote goes. I don't live in Arima, I don't live in Malabar, I don't live in Tarapula, I live in. So that's where my vote will go. So as I talk about connection to the young people, because they may not be old enough to vote, but you know what? They will be voters soon. And these are things that they remember. These is nothing that make up. This is not forced thing. This is genuine thing. So let me play this and we're going to wrap up all who here tonight. And let me get my list out. Because you see me, I just calling in from the list. So all who I think there, I will look on the bounce up chat and see if I could make out anybody there and whoever to watch this. Who don't like it could bite it. It is what it is.
Well, the name of the community organization is Freetown Sports Group. It is a sports development company that provides opportunity to young student athletes. And over the past few years, Stuart has always been at the forefront of the program, supporting financially and in person physically. And that's one thing I always appreciate, forget the politics, forget whatever it may be. Within the constituency as well, he has assisted us with our water problems. He has assisted us with a lot of other logistical problems that we have been having over the past few years. So I say all that to say that he has been present. He has been present in all of the youth programs that I have been present in. And from the interaction through those experiences, youth development is at the forefront of what he is about. It may seem like a small thing, but to us who are usually neglected, it said a lot, and based off of that, it was to me an indication of what could be possible.
Right? That's the kind of work that my member of parliament do, and I have no qualms about promoting it because that is my member of parliament, right? So let me see all who here today. So I'm seeing Marlene, Sedina, Patricia, Marcia, Allison, Victoria, Cara, Julia, Beverly, Anton, Rukmin, Claire, Patty, Miriam, Eric, Anon 001, Robert, Brenda, Glennis. I saw Rukia, I said Rukmin already, Claire and MH37. Yeah, but Diwali, they done pronounce already. Claire, well, there is a possibility of the economy stalling as it is already slowing down thousands of people without incomes, no spending power. Patricia, exact. Okay, blessed night, Patricia. All the time me blessed night, but you tell him, you jump on and tell him, Patricia, blessed night. Altia, all the good and all. Robert Lewis, consider getting rid of it. Countries are engaged in de-dollarization, not refusing to use the US dollar to trade. Systems are created to use their own currencies for business. Papa, their capital is littered. No, that is something else. Oh God, the thing gone. I go on and reading two different things, yes? This person who talking seems to know plenty about the economy, Papa, Robert. Where Robert thing gone again? Robert, sorry, but I can't read the whole thing now. They voted for Kamala and she's so old doing the trade. They voted for Kamala, and she's old, so why wouldn't they vote for Penny 2030? Carla Hercules, sweetheart, it just not has nothing to do with just age. Apparently, don't listen to my life, in my opinion. So I'm just going to leave it at me. Mrs. Penty Beckers does not have what it takes to take the PNM to victory. It's nothing really to do with the age alone. She does not have a history of having any political weight. We have never heard her do any debates in Parliament, whether on any topic or anything. Her tenure in the ministries has never been remarkable. We have never heard anything she has done in the ministries. She's out in the UN. We have never heard her on anything really, whatever. Very low key. And that is not what we need. And people say she would change. If you're in your 60s and that is your character and your demeanor, you ain't going to change now because that's who you are, your personality. She does not have that personality for the cut and thrust of politics, darling. So it has nothing to do with just age. Kamala Harris had age, but when she stood to speak, there's vibrancy, that she knew what she was saying and doing, that kind of thing. So that's what I'm talking about, darling. So it's not just the age alone. And if you heard me mention, I said that there are some persons the youths may attach to, whether or not they're in the 70s or 80s, because that person get them, they understand them and able to mesh you to words. So again, you're not listening. And all let's stop jumping on all the feelings with this thing and the opposition leader. Let me be real. Or they like to be truthful for everything else. Or let's say always talking the truth and always saying Dr. Raleigh is a Rottweiler, Dr. Raleigh is bola people, Dr. Raleigh is a bully. All they was talking all the truth, all they say is all the truth. Now we're saying that this, let me stop saying me. Now I'm saying that this opposition leader, political leader, my opinion, does not have that kind of strength. I ain't talking physical strength to take the PNM anywhere. And if only don't see it, only so blinded by the fact that what we go do and we just. I want to tell PNM people, if only feel PNM is going to get back into office because people fed up a Kamala. And that is it. Only lie, you know. So all they don't just sit around about people must get fed up at Kamala and then they go turn to the PNN. Or let's stop that foolish talk, okay? I know they went have a because pennies already there and they go turn to the PNN. Or let's stop that stupidness, eh? Don't do the work and just feel because the next team is show up. And all they win day, that is a win. That is a win or not. So Margaret Davison, Yvette, Angela, Ginger, Lorna, Sarah, Emmeline, Christopher, Erica, Keith, Charles, Anne, Ophelia, Andrew, Alison, Helen, Ross, Pleasant, Jill, Roxanne, King, Miss Melka, Bolty, Hadara, Ruthven, Dr. Lloyd Straker. Yes, I have a doctor watching me a little fast another place. Hey! Lucy, Brown, Cheryl, Steely, Alison, Jimenez, Francia, Ia Shorty, Bernadine, and Jocelyn. Augusta, Cato, Victoria from Sawa. I hope everything all right to you, darling. You and a good friend, a friend from Yips. I have McDonald, Banto, Katia, Raymond, Felicia, Ellis, Alexander, Joyce, and Margaret, Angela, Denise. That's one. Colonel Ken, Colonel Thomas Farrell, Rosalind, North, East Diamond, Trini, Jewel. It is berry, sweet berries, or some kind of berries, Papa. Myrtle, Tessa, Cynthia, Denise, Camilla, Mary, the hair, my whole friend from Duncan, my whole friend from Puna also, Cheryl. Listen, thank you all so much for staying locked on and tuning in. So, maybe talk detail. Join me on Friday Gospel when I come with something fresh, something new. This is the girl Ginger and sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny, and if you want to get formal listeners, Jennifer Frederick. And I will leave you with this. I have something, a song to, I hope that director put it up. So I'm just going to end the stream. Just an event the stream and then people, these things happen. But see you all on Friday Gospel. People from Port of Spain or St. Anne's West, there is a stand your ground consultation at the town hall tomorrow for 5 o'clock. So if you are in the vicinity or if you are a constituent of Port of Spain or St. Anne's West, you don't have to be PNM. It's not a political thing. Come if you have issues that you want to speak about. You are free to come. Yes, I'm advertising it. To City Hall, 5 p.m. tomorrow, God's there. Yeah. See you guys there. I'm going. I love all them. Bad. I end the stream. And if I still hear any music can come up, These things happen. See you all on Friday, God's will.
Some of them don't like me, some of them just fight me, some of them wish bad on me, all of them could go their way, some of them just back up me, and them feel like don't know, but I couldn't care less, all of them could rock so, rock so, rock so, you could rock so, stay over there with your bad energy, you could rock so, rock so, you could rock so, stay over there with your bad energy, you could rock so, live my life, I just wanna live my life, and I don't make my choice, so I go pay the price, yeah, live my life, just live my life, yeah, I don't make my choice, so I go pay the price. Some of them don't rate me, some of them they hate me, some of them like bad on me, all of them could go their way, some of them try laugh at me, like I'm a puppy show, but I couldn't care less, all of them could rock so, rock so, rock so, you could rock so, stay over there with your bad energy, you could rock so, rock so, you could rock so, stay over there with your bad energy, you could rock so, live my life, I just wanna live my life, and I don't make my choice, so I go pay the price, yeah, live my life, just live my life, yeah, I don't make my choice, so I go pay the price.
I know they like me, though, but I will get through regardless. You dig?
So I go pay the price. Yeah, we thankful for life, health and strength and all the vibes. Don't know we survive. We just wanna get with life. Some fall with the vice, with them evil eyes. Risk it for the price.